antitrust policy is an incredibly powerful tool for maintaining a competitive and dynamic economy, but that it has been almost completely unenforced in the two most important areas in which market power is accumulating in our economy, and therefore we've been ignoring about 80% of the, or maybe even 90% of the potential benefits of antitrust. Those two areas are that, first of all, institutional investors like Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, etc., now control about a third of the total corporate economy and are the 4 or 5 largest shareholders of almost every major corporation, straight across industries, Google and Microsoft, American Airlines and Delta. And therefore they have no interest in seeing these companies compete with each other. And we've seen rising prices in close correlation to the growing power of these companies. So that's sort of the most comprehensive market power that's ever existed, because it's coordinated almost the entirety of the corporate economy. Another area that's been almost completely neglected by antitrust policy has been the power that companies have over workers rather than over consumers. Because if you think about, a typical consumption decision you make, like what type of water to drink, there's probably 10 or 15 reasonable alternatives you have. Whereas if you think about job, what's your next best job rather than working at Google? It's probably a way worse option, and maybe you have one other option, but it's much less competitive than is a typical product market. And yet there's literally never been an antitrust merger case that blocked a merger because of the way it reduced options for employment for workers. And finally, we argue that the individual contributions that people make to the digital economy should be treated as essentially labor, and that there should be a labor movement of people who are contributing that data to organize to demand a fair share of the value created by their data from companies like Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, because increasingly people are worried about artificial intelligence taking people's jobs. But as all of us here know, all that artificial intelligence is trained based on human data. And it's in fact a lot more like some sort of broadcasting of our data than it is just brilliant engineers programming computers to go and take people's jobs. And so if people were more fairly compensated for their data, the digital economy would be a source of economic opportunity for people rather than an economic threat.